So hi, welcome back to my channel. So this is the next video. So this is a for revision for everything that we have learned through Unit 8. So what I'm gonna see here is actually revision is really important if you want your student to remember what they learned, because if you do not do the revision, then they might forget about what you have taught. So revision is really important. You can make a revision like 2 times, just because to cover everything up in one day, it may takes a lot of time, and you may not have enough time. So what I suggest you, maybe you, since we have the four skills for the first session and then the second session, so why not you just put on one day only for one session with this. You have learned about reading, grammar, listening, speaking, and writing. So you focus on that on one day, and then for the next one you focus on the start with the installation art. So now we are going to do a revision for the first one, which is of course I'm asking them to like welcome back to the class. So I hope you enjoy for today's video. It may repeat a few things, but I hope that you I will put under the description box below on which this focus on, so that you can refer to the videos for more details how to teach the students. So let's go. So, yes, this is revision time. So, this is why I ask my students if they remember anything that they have learned to the past few weeks. So, for the first one, of course, we are focusing on the reading skills, which is the title of the material is Don't Believe Everything You See. So, as you can see here, we have two slides here where I ask them to read, and then what they understand through the text. So, the text is about Photoshop of a person. So when we talk about Photoshop, when we talk about image, of course, there's not a real thing as you see in the social media. So it's really important for you to be yourself in front of the camera or in front of anything, in front of your friends, because when you be yourself, you consider that you are a true person. I'm not saying it's not good to be another person, but if you can show your true self, then it would be better so that people would understand you much more better. So, what I want my students to know about this text is actually, rather than you being someone else, why not you just be yourself and be more appreciative on what you get, what you are. So that is the focus of don't believe everything you see, because I believe that what you see in the social media is not all true. So it's sometimes people manipulate something, so you have to be careful about this. You cannot just compare your life with the other people that you see in the social media, because all of us have our own different lifestyle, our own family, our own like attitude towards somebody. So do not ever compare yourself with the other person. So I want my students to, while learning, they also learn the moral values of learning about this, not just like learning this, learning how you to read, how you pronounce those words. It's not just about that, it's about their understanding the true meaning of what the text they write. So this is the second paragraph. So I put in the two. I will put all the list of the class that learned, that all my students have learned in the description box below, so that you could understand much more better rather than the revision part here for today's video. And then we learn about the causative form. So causative form is I found my students found it really hard, because on how they use of certain words, on certain how they locate the words to be a causative form. But as you can see here, we have four causative form that we learned, and that I learned, that all of us learned throughout the previous video. As you remember, I will put down in the box, in the description box below, so don't worry, you can check upon them, or maybe you can get through my channel. So okay, so when we talk about causative verbs or causative form, as you can see here, here is actually the how you create a sentence using in the causative form. So first we're gonna have the subject. What is subject? Subject is like me, I, she, he. That is subject. You have to remember, you have to put the subject first, and then to form a causative form, of course, you're going to have a causative verb, which is the causative verb here, as you can see in the example here, like let, make, have, get. So this is the causative verbs. So you have to put the causative verb to ensure that this is causative form. So you have to put the causative verb and then you put the object. What is the object? As you can see here, the object here is my hair, the car, the my teeth, everything about the object, about the things that you are pointed to talk about. And then you have put the verb. So you know the verb. The verb is something that you are doing. So, for example, drive. So you put drive here. But as you must remember, when we put a verb in the causative form, you have to put in the past participle. So when you put a past participle, you have to remember what are the past participle of the root word of the word. For example, here, as you can see here in my slides, example here, I is I is subject. Had is a causative verb, which is have, but in the past tense, so we put had. Because you know why? Because as you can see here at the last word, last sentence we put last week. So last week indicate that it was happening in the past, so that's why I put had. Then my hair is actually the object for what the subject wanted to say, and then cut. As you can see, it was in the past participle. So and then as you can see here in my notes, agent is optional. So agent is actually by the barber. By the barber is actually the agent. So you can put the agent or you may not put the agent. It depends on you. But the most important is only subject, causative verbs, object, and the verb. So this is the most important thing when you want to create a causative form. Okay, so we learned about the causative verbs. And then also in the my grammar class, we learned about the third conditional. So the third conditional, as you remember, this is the structure of the third conditional, which is we put if first, and then we put the past perfect, and then we put the perfect conditional, which is what is perfect conditional, which is the would or wouldn't, and then you put have, and then you put the past participle. It's the same as you learned of causative verb when you have to put the past participle. So because you know what you see here, they have the causative verb here, have. So that is why we have to put the past participle. Okay, so the usage of the third conditional is imaginary situation in the past. So it's not happening, but you wish it to be happen, but it already passed. So it's just like what you imagine to be happen, what you imagine to be happen. So as you can see here, example here, I give the example here from this picture. So if I had got a gold medal, I would have been happy. So as you can see, we put if and then with the past perfect, which had got, and then a gold medal, and I, and then you put the perfect conditional, which is would have, the causative, and then the past participle been, because this is past participle, so been. So and then the next example is if I had met Susan last week, I would have given. So this is where you put the past perfect here, had met, and then we put the perfect conditional here, which would have given. Would have given. Given is the past participle, and then we put the causative verb here, have, and then we put the would or wouldn't. So this is the third conditional. You have to remember the third conditional. It's different from the causative form. Okay, this is different from, because causative form, it can, as you can see here. Okay, let me tell you. So the usage of causative form here, first is give someone responsibility to do something. So that is the difference between the third conditional and the causative form. And then you can see here, force someone to do something, and then allow or give permission for an action, and then convince someone to do something. So this is the usage of causative form. Okay, this is the usage. Usually people will use as give someone responsibility to do something, or you're like you can ask for convincing someone to do something. You can use it cognitive form rather than use very direct form of speech. Why not you just use this cognitive form to make it more polite than before? So, and then the problem solving. So the problem solving is when my students learn about listening and speaking. If you remember in the textbook, they are talking about for the listening. They are talking about this a few people that they have to listen on what the problem are and what the solving that they get. So this is really important. Also speaking, where I asked them to do the, I don't know if you remember, is the agony end. So agony end is actually when I ask my student to actually give a problem, and then the partner, so they have to work in partner and then come up with a solution. So, for further details about the agony end, I will put in the description box below just to help you to remember what we have learned throughout this listening and speaking classes, so that you know, and so that my students remember what they have learned. Because it's really important, as I say, revision is really important just to ensure that you know when you have a problem, you are going to find for the solution, not just hanging out, don't just like keep the problem by yourself. Find a solution. It can be a small solution, it can be a big solution, it depends. You can find a solution through someone or you find it yourself. It doesn't matter as long as you found the solution and then you try to cope with the problem. And then what I want my students not to do is to don't give up. To do not give up, because I believe that a lot of students here they are tend to give up on something because they think that they could not find a solution. So it is not good. So I want to train my students to actually, you know, be positive. Be Do not give up yet. Find a solution. Just any solution. It don't have to be, as I say, you don't have to be a big solution. So don't give up yet. Just fine, even though it's small. Just fine. Maybe you can ask for help, like Anthony and from the magazine. So okay. So that is for the listening and speaking, and then this is the letter where I asked my student to actually write a letter to orphan. If you remember, in the writing skills, we learn about how to write a letter. So this is the letter. So this is an example for my students. So I want them to know that for you're going to have like a greeting first, which is dear Afan, and then when you write a letter, what you have to do is it has to be in informal, and then you put that first you have to conclude everything the letter from the other person. For example, Afan here, so you have to conclude the first after you say the greeting, you have to say, "Oh, I understand what your problem is." That is really important for the introduction, just to ensure that you understand the letter that was sent to you, and then you try to come out with a solution to help them. And then for the second part is where you have to put your kind of like support words or something that encourage the person to deal with the problem. So that is what I want my students to learn on how to, you know, you don't have to be this kind of like formal, but if you have an email or something like that, you don't have a messenger, so you can use this kind of letter, because I believe back then a lot of people use letters. So I want them to get comfortable by using a letter on how to use, how to know the format, because it will help them in the future. It may not help them now, but in the future. But some of the letter come out in their like a small test. So it's really important for them to know how to write a letter, because I think it's really important to know how to write a letter, because it'll help them to discover new things rather than just sit there and do nothing. So and then so we move on to the next part, which is the installation art. As you remember, this is focusing on the second part, which we start with the reading first. Installation art. We read about installation art, how beautiful installation art was made, and this is a part of the example, which is the weather project, the craftsman, the melting man, and then the traffic tree. So this is important for my students to actually appreciate someone's capability on doing something, because I believe that not everyone are good in art. Even myself, I'm not good in art, but I hope that my students learn about installation art. And can do the, how can I say, can appreciate more about what people made, rather than, it's not a good thing. So I want them to actually be grateful, be appreciate someone's work rather than you judging them. It may look simple, but actually it's really hard. If you pay it just yourself, it may be very hard. But just to know that everyone have their own challenging in doing something. They have to learn the skills, just as the students, they have to learn how to reading skills, the writing skills, the listening skills, speaking skills. So it's same as the art skills. And then the next one is grammar, which we are focusing on the which or if only. I put the slides or the video that I taught about this, which we have 5 rules in the description box below, just to help you to remember back. So the first one, this is just a slide, explanation about this. So the first rule is, when you use wish and if only, and we put the past simple, which we want a situation in the present or in the future to be different. And then rule number 3, we talk about the past continuous. And then rule number 3, rule number 2, we're talking about past continuous. And rule number 3, we're talking about the past perfect simple. So rule number 4, we talk about would and would not. And then for rule number 5, could and couldn't. So as you remember, rule number 4 and rule number 5 is similar on how when to use them, which is we want something to happen, we want someone to start doing something, we want to show that we are annoyed with what someone or something does or does not do. So this is the 5 rules. If you want more details about the wish and only if only grammar focus, so you can click on the link in the description box below. I'll put down below so that you can refer to them, just to refresh back. This is because this is a revision, as I say, this is a revision part of my class, so I want them to just remember what we have done. Okay, so this is the art. Okay, so this is as you can see, I'm Peach. Hi, hello. So you can see my page. You can see me now. So okay, this is when we talk about arts, where I want them to actually speak. This is focusing on the speaking skills, and what I want them to actually find, do some research about this and then present it. So I want them to learn how to speak, rather than I give everything regarding this batik, origami, photography, the poetry, the jewelry. So I want them to actually learn on how to come up, find, and then start with the presentation. So it will be more comfortable for them to find it. Just I give them some times to find the information about this arts, this a lot of arts here, 5 arts here. So I want them to get comfortable, to get used by doing some research and come up with the slides, maybe a picture and example, so that they could present more like, they could speak more like better than if I just give everything and then just speak without any materials to show to me. So I want them to actually find a research and then a picture, example of the picture, maybe in their house, maybe they find in the Google, maybe they find in the Safari. So it depends on them. It's their own creativity. So I want them to actually get used on how to speak, because it's not like a formal presentation, just to be able for them to like have a discussion about these certain arts here that been divided into a few themes in my class. So we talk about this, and then I for the writing skills, we are focusing on the writing a report. So when writing a report here, as you can see here, I asked them to put the heading of the report. So when you do a report, remember it has to be in a formal writing, so that because this is a report and not a letter, so it's different from the letter that we learned previously, which is letter is more to informal, but report is more to formal letter, because we are writing a report to someone who is maybe a respect to us. For example, in this textbook, we are going to give the report to head teacher. So head teacher is person who is like upper than us, the teacher. So we have to respect them and write in the formal word. And then when write a report, you have to put the heading so that we know that this is focusing on the first one. So as you see here, the first one, you have to put the to, who, and from who, and then you put the subject, what you are focusing on. So for the number one, of course, the introduction, you have to put the introduction. And then for number two and number three and number four, you can put the what you are going to tell in the report, what you are going to report, what you are going to, how can I say, like give a thought, give and maybe an improvement for the school to do something. So you put in the number two, three, and four. It will better if you have five paragraphs to make sure that the details that you are giving here can be used for the school. So when we have the heading, so easier for you to remember, oh, this paragraph is talking about this topic, so you have to focusing on that particular topic so that you won't mix up with like topic one and then topic two and then topic three, you just mix up everything. No, it's not good that way. So it's easier for the students to actually put the heading so they know that, oh, this paragraph is focusing only on this, so they can talk about this. And then the third paragraph, fourth paragraph, the same thing. And then uh and then we put the last one, which is the conclusion. Of course, when we write something, we have to put the conclusion so that people know that, okay, we can see that this writing materials, the writing that by the students is have the conclusion where they conclude everything that have been given in the number two, three, and four. So it's really important for the students to put the conclusion of this. So I think that is all for today. So that is the revision. So I will put all the list of the video in the description box below, just to inform you that I already uploaded the full video of what I teach to my students. I hope you can use them and use in your class. I put down in the description box below. So I think that is all for me. Thank you for supporting me since the first video until now. And thank you for the people who watched this video. So I think I see you next time, next week, next video. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you get something to this video. So I think that is all for me. Thank you for your time and have a nice day. Bye. See you next time.